Well, howdy, everybody. This is John Michael. It's the fourth Thursday of Lent, and today Jesus is entering into these almost circular arguments with the scribes and the Pharisees and the religious leaders of his day. And it just kind of goes on, but you can feel the tension building between the religious leaders of his day and Jesus as you go through this in Lent. And it eventually leads up to Holy Week and his crucifixion, and then that leads to his resurrection. But there's some kind of cool things in today's scripture. Jesus didn't accept human praise. He was interested in doing God's will. So what about us? Do we do things in order to be praised for it? I know I do. I like to be praised, don't you? It feels good. But we don't live our Christian life in order to be praised by the world, because the world may not understand what we're doing. The world crucified Jesus, so they might crucify you. Even religious leaders might crucify us, thinking they're doing God's will. Saul of Tarsus thought he was doing God's will when he persecuted Christians, and it took a conversion. And if you look at the lives of the saints, even in the church, God allowed them to experience what Jesus experienced within the church. So people that thought they were doing the will of Jesus actually ended up persecuting some of the saints. Now, where they stood before God is between them and God. But God worked through that mystery. So sometimes we can even be misunderstood and not praised by the church in which we live. Many of the saints weren't praised until much, much later. We didn't appreciate who they were, until years, decades, centuries in some cases, after their life, for how marvelous they were. So we don't do things for human praise. We do them to accomplish the will of God. That's my prayer for you guys. If you do that, you might be crucified for it, but that crucifixion is going to lead you to resurrection and victory. Maybe not on this earth, but in heaven. And that's my prayer for you guys. I love you. All things are possible with God.